What's up, everyone? Today I'll be going over offshore bank accounts, what they are, how they work, and whether they're worth looking into for businesses that deal with customers, contractors, or revenue across borders. Because what usually happens is you'll collect payments from different countries, pay international teams, and suddenly you're losing 3% to currency conversion, waiting days for transfers to clear, or getting flagged by your bank just for wiring money out. And on paper, offshore banking absolutely sounds like the right move. You can hold funds in multiple currencies, you can save your foreign exchange fees, and you can get paid like a local business in different markets. Just generally, it's more control over how your money moves, and it minimizes the cost. But in my experience, reality looks a bit more like this: high minimum deposit requirements, piles of compliance paperwork, and a setup process that can stretch on for weeks. So in this video, I'll show you where offshore accounts still work, where they fall short, and what smarter alternatives are out there. Now, this video is sponsored by my friends over at Airwallex, which is actually pretty cool because we've been using them long before they ever reached out about doing a sponsorship. Our companies run payments through their platform for a while now, and they've always been super reliable for us. It just works, so it's nice to finally make it official. If you want to check them out, there's a link in the description that'll take you to one of the best deals you'll find on their platform right now. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support the channel and honestly helps me keep my job doing what I love here for you guys. All right, let's get into it. So first off, let's start with what an offshore bank account actually is, because pop culture has gotten this all wrong. It's not some shady back alley hush-hush thing. It's just a business account you open in a different country from where your company is registered. So if your business is based in the US, and you open an account in, say, Switzerland, that's considered offshore. And functionally, it works the exact same. You can hold money, send payments, receive transfers. The only reason it's offshore is because of where it's set up. The point here is to get you access to different currencies, different payment networks, different investment opportunities, and sometimes even a totally different set of banking rules. Like, all right, let's say you've got customers in Europe paying in euros. If you got one account and it only holds dollars, you're losing a good chunk of that every time it gets converted. Offshore accounts let you hold the funds in euros, then either pay suppliers directly or convert it when the rate is better. In addition, your customers can pay you like a local business in Europe rather than a foreign business in the US. It works for international contractors too. Instead of every payment crawling through the SWIFT network, which is very slow and could take days, you can pay them through a local network inside that region. It's usually faster and a lot cheaper. And yes, in some cases, companies will use offshore accounts to get around limitations in their local banking system. That might mean access to investment services or just being able to move money freely without everything getting flagged or delayed. So the goal here isn't secrecy, it's functionality, making international payments smoother, holding currencies where you earn them, and avoiding unnecessary cost when you're running a business across borders. Okay, so you're thinking of opening up an offshore account. Well, sorry to say the process sounds simple, but really it's anything but. You start with an application where you have to explain what your business does, how much money you expect to move, and why you need the account in the first place. Then the document requests start: passport, proof of address, company registration, sometimes even a letter from your current bank. And from there, it slows way down. Every application goes through compliance checks. It's all standard stuff, but it can take weeks. And if you're applying remotely or through a system that still relies on PDFs and email, it gets even slower. Then most banks are going to have minimum deposit requirements. These can range from a few $1,000s to much, much more, depending on the bank and jurisdiction. It's important to always check the minimum balance rules before applying. But once you're approved, you'll usually get online banking, a multi-currency account, and sometimes a debit card. So on the surface, the tools are there. But getting there is a process, and if you can't afford that time, it's going to hold up your business. Setting up new vendors, scaling into new markets, the lag isn't just frustrating, it can prevent even basic stuff like payroll. Now, even once the account's open, the problems don't really go away. Stuff like slow approvals, long hold times, and a ton of paperwork are just the reality. So anytime you want to open up another account, update your setup, or move funds between regions, you're stuck waiting. Even funding your own offshore accounts means you're back on SWIFT, dealing with the costs and the delays again and again. That kind of delay starts dragging everything else down with it. And there's also compliance, so much compliance. Every new account kicks off another round of ID checks, document requests, and follow-ups, even if you're applying through the same bank. Look, it's not impossible to manage, but it adds up fast when you're operating in more than one country. And of course, there's the risk. These accounts usually aren't backed by the same protections you'd get from a local bank. So if something happens to that provider, it's not always clear what kind of recourse you will actually have. Plus, offshore doesn't mean untaxed. You can't just hide money in another country. These accounts still need to be reported, and most of the time you'll have to track balance, interest, and earnings separately. Again, compliance. The point is, if you're looking for something that just works, something that helps your business move faster, not slower, most offshore banks end up making life more difficult, not less. And that's where a lot of companies get stuck. You either fight your way through offshore banking or scale slower than you want to. This isn't an access issue, it's a tools issue. Unfortunately, there are some options out there nowadays that won't stonewall you like that. And I want to highlight one of them, Airwallex, since I've used it a lot and it's done everything that I've needed. Airwallex gives you the same kind of reach you'd normally get with offshore banking, but you can set it up in your home country without the slow setup or the pile of admin that comes with it. You can use your local business entity to have an Airwallex global account. With that, you can have local bank account details in over 60 countries, all from home. You're not waiting weeks for responses or sending notarized documents. You just need to go through the business verification process online once for your local entity. And there is no minimum balance just to get started. Once you're set up, you can hold funds in more than 20 currencies and keep them there until you want to convert. Nothing gets swapped without you saying so. Then when you do convert, the rates are way better, closer to what the banks trade at, with obviously a small markup, usually around 0.4 to 1% above the interbank rate, depending on the currency. You can also send payouts to suppliers, teams, contractors to over 150 countries, since Airwallex allows you to send international transfers via its proprietary access to local networks. The transfers are free and fast. 90% of its international transfers arrive within the same day, if not instantly. At the same time, you can still choose to send your transfers via SWIFT from your Airwallex account, with which you can send funds to more than 200 countries. Those SWIFT fees do apply. So you're still collecting payments globally, still paying out in local currencies, but the system's just so much faster and more reliable. And the nice thing with Airwallex is that once you're in, the dashboard they give you is actually useful. You can see your accounts, currencies, incoming payments, outgoing transfers, all of it. So if your team's operating across different countries, you're not constantly switching tabs or scribbling down numbers from 5 different banks. It's all just there. You also get multi-currency debit cards, virtual and physical, that pull directly from whatever balances you already hold. So if you've got euros in the account and your team's spending in euros, that's what's going to get used. No middle step. And bill payments and expenses are handled in real time as well. You can track spending as it happens, set limits by team or region, and sync it all back to whatever accounting platform you use, so you don't need to clean it all up later. And if your team's technical, there's an API that you can hit, plug it into your own systems, move money programmatically, or automate anything you normally do manually without even having to log into the dashboard. Basically, it's just one clean setup that scales with the rest of your business. Now look, offshore accounts still have their place, but for the kind of businesses that's trying to move quickly in different regions and needs things to just work, more often than not, it'll end up slowing you down. And that's why I've been so impressed with Airwallex. If you're running a global team or handling multi-currency accounts and payments, it's one of the few tools I found that makes things noticeably easier. And like I said, if you want to check out Airwallex for yourself, there's that link down in the description. It can usually get you some good deals that you wouldn't find anywhere on their website. I hope you found this helpful. And if you did, then please like and subscribe to see more videos just like this. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Finally, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.